Good morning. Well, I said once, be authentic. And then some people came to me and said, yes, we should speak the truth. I'm amazed. People talk of truth as if it is something absolute, something alterable. What is truth? Jesting Pilate would go from place to place and ask what is truth, and he would not stay for the answer because there is nothing as definitive truth. Beauty, they say, is in the eye of the beholder, and truth is in the belief system that you have got. And belief system changes from a person to person, from time to time, from situation to situation. Recently, when the special advisor to President Trump said that there are alternate facts, there was a fury and volcanic eruption of protest. The truth is truth. Facts are facts. How can there be alternate facts? Now imagine I'm giving you a case of a young girl, 3 or 4, and in her formative years, her father has been killed. He is dead. The mother says and tells the daughter, worship the memory of your dad. He was a loving father and a loving husband. The grandparents say he was a great guy, great son, great brother, great father. So the girl starts growing up. And when she is in her teens, she hero worships her father, a great man. And then one day she is Googling and she finds out that her father had been killed in a police encounter. He had been a murderer, and during the trial he tried to escape from the jail, and he was killed in that encounter. So what was the truth, she wondered? Was the truth what her parents and the well-wishers told her? Or was it the truth as a newspaper told her? The teens were over, she grew up, and then she came in contact with some politicians, some so-called social activists who told her that her father was not a criminal. He was killed in a fake encounter by the police because he was exposing the corruption. That was the opinion of the activists. Now there are 3 pictures of the same man. So whom should the girl believe? And what is truth? As I said, truth is in the belief systems that change from person to person, from place to place, from time to time, from situation to situation. So the girl, her family memories, the father is a hero. That's the pre-modern truth. The newspaper report that the father is a villain is the modern truth. And the activist saying that her father was a victim, that is a post-modern truth. And that truth locates fact in an ecosystem of power. Ecosystem of power which people ordinarily don't use. People use ecosystem only for environment, but then power is an environment. It's a milieu of environment. And that ecosystem changes the very perception. Who is criminal from the point of view of the police is a hero from the point of view of activists. Then the question arises, who decides what is truth? The academicians and the journalists have very strong views on that. But I, as a person who believes that the idea of truth should be something dependent on the belief system. This word is a religious concept, not a scientific one. In science, there is no truth. There are measurable and verifiable objective facts that inform knowledge. Facts are located outside the human mind. They are not subject to human perception. They can be measured. Now, truth is something which cannot be measured. The whole universe, when we say it's a universal truth, the whole universe is infinite. And we are aware that knowledge is finite. Knowledge is not infinite. And it's incomplete. Let's be very clear. In fact, the reality is that the new facts, new information can make the old facts become lies. Earth was created to be rectangular. Today they call it to be round. It was truth at one time that it was rectangular. The truth today, it's oval. So, then there's another problem with the people. They use the word knowledge and truth interchangeably. They forget that knowledge is fluid. It keeps on changing. It's a stream. Truth is visualized. I am again saying visualized and believed to be fixed. Initially, the truth is the mother, and whatever the mother says, that is the truth. Because she is nurturing the child. Then, alpha male who provides for the family, the father. Then the brother and the sister. Then the leader. The leader says so. The prime minister says so. The president says so. The king says so. Then the priest. And the priests are the people who legitimize the politician's rule. So then came the philosopher, last of all. And philosopher has rejected all the mystical visions and the supernatural. And then he saw that the reason of everything, every understanding, is reason, logic. And ultimately comes the scientist who replaces the philosopher. So that's a continuation of truth. From the mother to the father to the brother to the teacher to the leader to the priest, philosopher, and then the scientist. So the perception of truth has been changing all the time. And another thing, scientists give greater value to measurability than to rationality. A thing may not be rational, but if you can make it believe, if you can measure it, then it's truth. Scientists are aware that clever politicians, clever people, charlatans, faith leaders, they can rationalize anything. And facts are within the realm of material sciences. So, the whole thing changes. Now, another new tribe has come up, where if the scientists are giving way to a new breed of truth makers, I call them the truth manufacturers, and they are the technocrats. We are being told that the artificial intelligence shall replace human beings. They shall be the ultimate deciding factor because they are far more objective than the human beings can be. And now there's a tussle of power. It's not spoken of. The original purveyors of truth, the family, mother, father, they have been pushed to the background. Now the fight is between the technocrats and the scientists on one side, and the politicians, activists, priests on the other. There's another thing. Why do we call truth to be singular? Because this is the only thing. Either this is there or it's not there. It's not neither definitive nor singular. But the origin of this goes to the Middle Ages, especially to the Middle Eastern tribes, urbanization of Egypt and Mesopotamia. As multiple tribes with multiple gods, even in India, 600 gods, 6,000 gods, 36,000 gods, and like that, And the multiple gods and the multiple customs they were seeking shelter in the process of urbanization in a single city. So, how to accommodate all that, how to accommodate all the belief systems, and to make this happen, the chief god of the king or the ruling party, he faked shelter and said, well, what my God says is true. And that is why the people were killed in the name of religion. Now, unfortunately, what has happened is that the secular societies have abandoned God but have not abandoned truth. They see that there is a value of getting everything aligned to their truth. Now, this is their truth and our truth. Your truth, their truth, my truth, X's truth, Y's truth. So if everybody has a different truth, whose truth is the real truth? You see, let's see. If all the truths were to be dominant, what would happen? Let's take up the case of Singapore. It's dominated by the Chinese community, but it plays down the Chinese culture behind the facade of financial secularism. Now, this is something there. They are believing in economic growth. So, financial secularism there is a material. Who earns money? Who creates money? He can believe in Confucianism, he can believe in Islam, he can believe in Hinduism, he can believe in Christianity. Though the dominant culture is Chinese, Confucianism is not the mainstay of the island. You know, they have abandoned the individuality, focused on stability, and they have carefully regulated life. And you know, imagine, despite highly industrialized, Singapore is not comfortable with LGBT community because of the inherent old religious thoughts. But then, you know, what they do is, they don't call it a religious dogma. They call it cultural value. Now, why cannot truth be plural? Why call it singular? Why can't we say that all the truth is acceptable? Whether the truth of X or Y or Z. We want everyone to move from a developing economy to the developed economy. We want each Mumbai to be Shanghai. We want everybody to come to the apple tree. I mean, it's a great apple, New York. And when the people assemble like that, the question arises, which hills which we mine and where the ancestors resided, what happens to them? This was a situation that arose in Egypt when Aswan Dam was to be built in. Take the case of Islam. Now there is again dispute. Does Islam mean the religion of submission, or is it the religion of peace? Can submission lead to peace? And can the two meanings coexist? Of course they do. So what motivates people to choose one translation over the other is often politics, but it is their belief systems as well. The converts, for example, who went to Islam, say from Hinduism, still retain their cultural heritage. Now, what is Sufism? If from the strict Islamic point of view, they are not Muslim. Their whole style is Hindu dominated. But they have become assimilated in the Muslim thought and Muslim culture. You know, that only shows that two views can exist, two truths can exist. And when Calvin talked of the alternate facts, there is a certain reality in that they can exist. Take the word of mythology. In 19th century, Egyptian Orientalists used to mean it false faith. They used to describe polytheistic faiths like Greeks and Romans and Hindus. It was defined, mythology, as a falsehood. Monotheism was defined as a religion. Today, rationality makes atheism the dominant discourse. More and more people are becoming atheists. So again, the truth is changing. What is required is that we have got to look at the truth from quantitative level and qualitative level. You know, there are two Hindu words, Satya and Mithya. They are translated as truth and falsehood. That's wrong. The reality is, as I said, you have to have respect for the alternate truths. No truth was, no truth is, no truth shall ever be absolute, no truth shall be such which cannot be challenged. The same book can be read and interpreted differently, and that's why Bible is the most critically appreciated religious book in the world. It's not either this or that. If you believe in diverse words, you have got to believe in the diversity of thought. Now, this is something which shocks me. People talk of diversity in living places, but they don't talk of diversity in thought. There, they want it to be monolith, something which only you obey. That is not the fact, and that's not life. Truth, to be dominant, has to accept that there are different interpretations, there are different thoughts, and each one of them is correct in its own way. You cannot force people to accept only your version of truth. And the day you realize it, the day the leaders realize it, that diversity is not only demographic factor, it is also the thinking factor. It is also a factor of your belief systems. The day you accept it, the question of right and wrong, truth and falsehood shall vanish, and that shall be the salvation of mankind and your salvation. Mind you, you as Homo sapiens have got to realize that you are not bipeds, you are Homo sapiens, and you have individual thinking which cannot be regimented and must not be regimented. The day you realize it, you will become a real human being, a real Homo sapien. Accept the truth's variety. It's like a bouquet of flowers. Each flower has its own smell. So has each truth its own aroma, its own fragrance. Enjoy. Have a great day.